Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Tune In English, the podcast where you improve your English by listening to real conversations. I'm Adam.
And I'm Anna. We're really glad you're spending a few minutes with us today. In this episode, we're talking about two tiny words that cause surprisingly big confusion: some and any.
Oh, yes, the famous grammar twins that look simple, but somehow make people pause when they're speaking.
Exactly. And the interesting thing is, even intermediate English learners who speak very fluently still hesitate with these two words. They'll be in the middle of a sentence and suddenly stop and think, wait, should I say some or any?
That happened to me recently, actually. Last weekend, my wife and I went grocery shopping, and something very small but very strange happened in the dairy aisle.
A dairy aisle grammar moment? This sounds serious.
Very serious. We were standing there looking at eggs, milk, yogurt, typical Sunday shopping, and my wife asked, "Do we need some eggs?" A few seconds later, I said, "Do we have any milk?" And suddenly I froze.
Because both were questions.
Exactly. I thought, wait, why did she say some and I said any? Aren't they both questions? I literally stood there holding a carton of milk, thinking harder about grammar than shopping.
That is a true English learner moment. Even native speakers notice these things sometimes.
And once I started paying attention, I realized people switch between some and any all the time. Restaurants, coffee shops, emails, phone calls. You hear it everywhere.
That's because there is a basic rule, but there are also a few very important exceptions. And once you understand both the rule and the feeling behind the words, choosing the right one becomes almost automatic.
I like that, the feeling behind the words. So let's start simple. What's the textbook rule?
The basic rule is this: use some in positive sentences and any in negative sentences and most questions.
Nice and clear. So if I say, I bought some groceries, that's positive. Groceries exist. I bought them.
Exactly. And if you say, I didn't buy any groceries, that's negative. 0 groceries.
Very sad situation, by the way.
Extremely sad, especially if you're hungry. Another example, there are some cookies on the table.
Good sentence. Very hopeful sentence.
And the negative version, there aren't any cookies on the table.
Much less hopeful. Emotionally difficult.
Let's try a few more quick examples so everyone listening can feel the pattern. I have some good news.
Positive. Good news exists.
She doesn't have any experience.
Negative. No experience.
Do you have any questions?
A question, and I don't know the answer, so we use any.
Perfect. Think of it like a simple traffic light. Green light, positive sentences, use some. Red light, negative sentences, use any. Yellow light, questions, usually any.
I love that visual. Green, red, yellow. Very easy to remember.
But now we arrive at the interesting part, the part that confused you in the grocery store.
Yes, the mysterious moment of, do we need some eggs?
Exactly, because sometimes we use some in questions, and when we do, it usually means one important thing. The speaker expects the answer to be yes.
Ah, so it's not just grammar, it's attitude.
That's right. For example, if I say, would you like some coffee? I'm offering coffee. I believe there's a good chance you'll say yes.
That feels very different from, do you want any coffee? Which sounds more neutral, like I have no expectation.
Exactly. The first one feels warmer and more inviting. The second is just a neutral question. So when you offer something, we often use some.
That explains my grocery store confusion already. My wife wasn't just asking a neutral question, she was assuming we probably needed eggs.
Right. She expected the answer to be yes, so she used some naturally.
I like this already. The rule is starting to feel less scary and more logical.
Good, because there's another very important situation where we use some in questions, and this one is just as common in everyday conversation.
Let me guess, when we're asking for something?
Exactly. When you make a request, you also usually use some because you expect the answer to be yes.
So if I say, can I have some water, please? I'm requesting water, and I believe I will receive it.
Perfect example. And this small difference is what makes your English sound much more natural in real conversations.
I can already think of many daily situations where this happens. restaurants, offices, even at home.
Exactly. And in just a moment, we're going to look at several real-life scenarios where some and any appear again and again in everyday English.
Let's explore that idea a little more, using some in offers and requests, because once you notice, you start hearing it everywhere.
Absolutely. Imagine you're at a cafe. The barista smiles and says, "Would you like some milk in your coffee?" That's an offer. She expects you might want it.
And if I say, "Can I have some sugar, please?" That's a request. I'm asking for something specific, and I expect to receive it.
Exactly. So remember this short, simple shortcut. If you expect a yes, use some. If you truly don't know the answer, use any.
That makes things much easier. It's almost emotional grammar. You choose the word based on your expectation.
I like that phrase, emotional grammar. Let's compare two questions so listeners can really feel the difference. Would you like some tea?
That sounds friendly and welcoming. I feel like tea is already waiting for me.
Now listen to this one. Do you have any tea?
Completely different feeling. That's a real information question. I don't know if tea exists there.
Exactly. Same topic, different intention. And that intention changes the word choice.
Okay, I want to try a few examples. Tell me if these sound natural. Could I borrow some money?
Perfect. That's a request. You expect the person might help you.
Do you have any money with you?
Also correct. That's a genuine question. You don't know the answer.
I think this is starting to click. But earlier you mentioned something even more interesting. Any in positive sentences.
Yes, and this is where many learners get surprised. Any doesn't only appear in negatives and questions. In positive sentences, any can mean it doesn't matter which one.
Ah, the no restrictions meaning.
Exactly. For example, you can sit in any chair.
Meaning every chair is fine, no restrictions.
Another example, call me anytime.
I like that one. It means every time is okay. Morning, afternoon, evening, no limitations.
Right, and we use this structure constantly in everyday English. I'll eat anything. We can go anywhere. Any day works for me.
Those all feel very natural, and they're all positive sentences.
Exactly. So now we have an important new idea. Any can appear in positive sentences when the meaning is no restrictions.
Let me try creating one. You can choose any color you like.
Perfect. Every color is acceptable. Here's another. Anyone can learn English.
Excellent. No restriction on who. Everyone is included.
I can see why learners sometimes feel confused. They learn any is for negatives and questions, and then suddenly they hear anyone can join or any seat is fine.
Yes, and that's why it's helpful to remember meanings instead of memorizing only rules. When any means no restrictions, it fits naturally in positive sentences.
So now we have three main ideas. Some for positive sentences, any for negatives and most questions, and any in positive sentences when we mean no restrictions.
Exactly. And we should also talk about the compound words because they follow the same patterns. Someone, something, somewhere with some, and anyone, anything, anywhere with any.
Right. For example, I saw someone outside.
Positive, someone exists.
I didn't see anyone outside.
Negative, no person.
Did you see anyone outside?
Genuine question, you don't know.
Would you like something to drink?
Offer, you expect a yes, so we use something.
That one is very common in restaurants.
Very common. Another example, I can't find my keys anywhere.
Negative meaning no place. And here's a positive one. You can park anywhere on this street.
Meaning every place is okay. No restrictions again.
Exactly. The patterns stay consistent, which makes learning them much easier once you see how they connect.
I like how everything links together. Instead of learning 20 separate rules, it's really just a few ideas repeating in different forms.
That's the beauty of it. English often looks complicated at first, but when you see the patterns, it becomes much simpler.
And honestly, this is one of those grammar topics that can immediately improve how natural you sound in daily conversations, emails, meetings, cafes, even texting.
Absolutely. And in the next part, let's put everything into real-life mini-scenes, work situations, social situations, and everyday conversations, so listeners can hear how some and any naturally appear again and again.
Perfect. Real situations always make things stick better. All right, let's jump into some real-life situations. I think this is where everything really becomes clear.
I agree. When you hear grammar inside real conversations, it stops feeling like a rule and starts feeling like normal English.
Okay, scene 1. You're at a restaurant with a friend.
I'm already hungry.
The server comes over and says, "Would you like some water while you look at the menu?"
That's an offer. The server expects I'll probably say yes, so we use some.
You respond, "Yes, please, and do you have any sparkling water?"
That's a genuine question. I don't know if they have it, so any is correct.
The server says, "Sorry, we don't have any sparkling water today."
Negative sentence. No sparkling water exists.
Then you say, "That's okay, can I have some lemon with my water?"
Request. I expect to receive lemon, so some.
4 sentences, 4 different uses, and it all feels natural when it's inside a real situation.
Exactly. Let's do another one. Scene 2. You're at work. You get an email from your manager.
That already sounds stressful.
The email says, I have some feedback on your presentation.
Positive sentence, feedback exists. That word "some" can feel scary though.
Very true. Now the email continues, do you have any time tomorrow to talk?
Genuine question. My manager doesn't know my schedule.
You reply, I don't have any time in the morning, but I have some availability in the afternoon.
Negative for the morning, positive for the afternoon. This is actually how we write professional emails all the time.
Exactly. And then maybe you add, you can call anytime after 2 p.m.
No restrictions on when. Any time after 2 works.
See how smoothly that flows? When you understand the logic, you don't need to stop and think.
I love that. Okay, scene 3. You're with a friend trying to decide where to eat.
Classic weekend problem.
Your friend says, "I know some good restaurants around here."
Causative. Specific restaurants exist in his mind.
You reply, "I don't have any preference. You choose."
Negative. No preference exists.
Your friend asks, "Do you have any cash? I forgot my wallet."
Genuine question. He doesn't know.
You say, "Yeah, I have some. Don't worry."
Positive. Cash exists in your wallet.
Then you say, "You can pay me back anytime."
No restriction on when.
It's amazing how often these words appear in normal life.
They're everywhere. That's why mastering them makes such a difference.
Let's talk about a few common mistakes learners make.
Good idea. Mistake number 1. I don't have some money.
That sounds wrong immediately. It should be, "I don't have any money," because it's negative.
Exactly. Negative sentence, any.
What about this one? "Would you like any coffee?"
Grammatically, it's possible, but it sounds less natural if you're offering. Native speakers usually say, would you like some coffee? Because they expect a yes.
So sometimes it's not about right or wrong, it's about sounding natural.
That's such an important point. Now here's a tricky one. Is there something wrong?
That actually sounds correct.
It is correct, because when we say that, we usually suspect there's a problem. We expect the answer might be yes.
So if I truly don't know, I might ask, "Is there anything wrong?"
Exactly. That sounds more neutral.
Wow, that's subtle. The choice between something and anything can show whether you suspect a problem.
Yes, and that's advanced level awareness. It's not just grammar, it's psychology.
Let's do a quick mini quiz for our listeners.
I love quizzes.
Okay, there are blank apples in the kitchen.
Some. Positive sentence.
I didn't see blank interesting at the store.
Anything. Negative idea.
Can I have blank help with this?
Some. Request.
You can choose blank movie you want.
Any. No restrictions.
Perfect. If you answered those correctly while listening, that means you're really understanding the pattern.
And if you made a mistake, that's okay too. Awareness is the first step. Once you notice these patterns, your brain starts adjusting automatically.
That's true. Language learning isn't about being perfect immediately. It's about noticing, practicing, and gradually building instinct.
Exactly. And today, if you take away one thing, let it be this. Don't just memorize the rule. Pay attention to the feeling. Are you expecting yes? Are you negative? Or are there no restrictions?
I love that summary. It makes everything feel lighter and more practical.
Before we wrap up, let's quickly review the big picture one more time in a simple, clear way.
Let's do it.
Some, positive sentences, offers, requests.
Any, negative sentences, genuine questions, positive sentences meaning no restrictions.
And once you feel that difference, your English becomes more natural instantly.
That's such a powerful shift for two small words.
Tiny words, big impact.
If this episode helped you, share it with someone who still pauses at some and any.
And tell us in the comments, what was more surprising for you, using some in questions or using any to mean no restrictions?
We love reading your answers.
Keep listening,
Keep practicing.
and we'll see you in the next episode of Tune In English.
Bye, everyone.